A lot of people have been focusing on Anton's estranged female co-host, Mika. Many others have been focusing on Corey Holcomb. But a lot of attention in the last few days have been coming towards Anton Daniels' wife. Now, Anton Daniels' wife typically stays out of the loop, although she may show up sometimes on the live stream, and that's if he asks her to. But what I feel that Anton Daniels' wife
Hold on, here we go. Oh boy. Anyways, that's tough. That's tough. You see, Anton's wife can't respect herself, bro. You know, his money, his fame, the fact that he's able to take care of her, provide for her, get her what she needs. She's gonna hold on to that. You know what I'm saying? She's holding on to it, knowing he can go get Mika ass, thick, light skin. You know what I'm saying? Look good. And this is her. That's tough.
live stream, and that's if he asks her to. But what I feel that Anton Daniels' wife typically likes to do is kind of just beat it herself. She will come on camera if he asks her. She's kind of outside of the loop. And again, this is important because she plays that part pretty well. Very similar to like Savannah James. But Anton has been pretty straightforward from what I understand, and I didn't know this until all of this happened.
So y'all think Savannah James lets LeBron clap buns?
Now, Anton Daniels is in some level of an open relationship with his wife.
And Savannah James is LeBron James's. Yeah, I just said LeBron, right?
So his wife is completely okay with him dating other women.
If you married to somebody and they can't tell you I can tell Rita anything.
So this is the same shit we do, right?
Anything. If I like another girl, if I'm going through something, if I'm not feeling her at the time, let's just say let's use a worst case scenario in your mind. Yo, you know what? I'm feeling like another chick tomorrow.
Damn.
Would you be able to be wait, stop. Hold on, y'all. Let's talk about it. Do you think you should be able to do that within your marriage?
Talk about it, yeah.
You said no?
Now, this part about Anton, I didn't know until the Corey Holcomb situation happened, all right? And I found that out. But somebody who did understand this more than me was his former colleague, No Captivity with Freezy.
If that's the way I felt and I wanted to talk to her about it, do you think that makes sense?
No, it doesn't.
Why not?
How old is
Wait, y'all.
So Anton's wife was even screaming, why? Why can't he on another chick, right? Anton said they're definitely not in an open marriage, but she will let him down another chick.
Now, this is important because Anton Daniels is a self-professed Christian. He mentions that his faith is a part of his lifestyle.
My hero is Jesus.
Adultery.
So I look at it from a completely different lens. Regardless of where I am in my journey, the person that I pedestalize, and the word is the word. It doesn't change. It's never changed.
So I want to talk about men in having more than one wife and being associated with Christianity under the umbrella of Abrahamic faiths. Now, Abrahamic faiths would be Judaism, Islam, and then Christianity. And there are certain evidences, especially in the Old Testament, that allowed a polygyny, or a man with more than one wife, or
Nigga said polygyny.
We see it with Abraham had Sarah and Hagar, Jacob had Leah and Rachel, David had several wives, Solomon had many wives, I believe 700 and 300 laws of concubines. And the law of Moses even regulated polygyny, which suggests that it was permitted. And this is the case that some Hebrew Israelites, brother Captain Tazaryak, when they're debating some Christians, made this point.
So what I'm saying is there's no law forbidding you from having multiple wives. There's laws once you have multiple wives.
Yeah, there's laws like if you have two wives.
Is that true?
And the wife that you hate has your firstborn son, but the wife that you love has your secondborn son, you still got to give your inheritance to the first wife son.
Deuteronomy, the 21st chapter, 15 through 17 verse, pretty much says this: if a man has two wives, he must not deny the rights of the firstborn. Exodus 21 and 10, if he takes another wife, he must not deprive the first one of...
Nigga, that's the Bible or something? Nigga, what the law say, nigga? More than one wife. Yes, can you legally have more than one wife? Yes, it is illegal to have multiple legally recognized wives in all 50 U.S. states. Known as bigamy or polygamy, marrying another person while already... This nigga's going based off the Bible. These niggas said it was legal.
Food, clothing, and marital
Some
rights.
Bible.
So basically, these are rules in place to protect the first wife biblically. All right. So Anton Daniels having more than one female interest is not really a bad thing, at least in the Old Testament. Okay. But now
The Old
Christianity,
Testament,
which Anton Daniels is a part of, will also lead towards one wife. So New Testament favors monogamy as the standard. Matthew 19, 4 and 5 says, a man shall leave his father and his mother and be united to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. And this point was also backed up.
Yes, there were certain cultural challenges, like polygamy, that had to be handled.
Polygamy is multiple wives, yeah?
Correct.
Okay. Gotcha. And when did that stop being a thing? Because I heard that like King David had multiple wives, but didn't God not want that to happen with David?
Exactly, George.
Yeah.
Because in Genesis 2:24 we read, for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother, be united to his wife, and the two shall become one. Not the 10 become one, not the 20 become one. Solomon's 700 wives, 300 concubines. No, not the 1,000 become one. The two become one. That's marriage. That's Genesis 1 and 2.
Here is a scripture that favors monogamy. Now, we talk about church leaders were required to have one wife. 1 Timothy 3 and 2, an overseer must be faithful to his wife. An elder must be the husband of one wife. Titus 1 and 6. Okay? So that's the interpretation. Okay? Now, the Old Testament, the New Testament, the same guy. All right? So, okay, Anton, we can leave it up for debate. Here is the issue with Anton Daniels, is that if Anton Daniels wants to deal with these women, he could deal with them, right? But if he wants to really make a case for this, the reason why he cannot make a case, because Anton Daniels is suffering from the same case that Elijah Muhammad faced in 1963, 64, or 65. In 1962 or 63, Minister Malcolm X was the national speaker of the Nation of Islam. He would later be silenced later on that year in 63 because of what he said about John F. Kennedy. But he found out something that broke his spirit, which is that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had gotten several women inside the Nation of Islam pregnant. And he had upwards, at the minimum I know about, is 7 kids. But he had women who were secretaries who were working for him, and they had gotten pregnant. Now, once these women gotten pregnant, once he impregnated these women, he then kicked these women out of the Nation of Islam, basically shaming these women after he is the one responsible for them getting pregnant. Now, Elijah Muhammad would lie about this and say that this is not true. But in the 90s, Louis Farrakhan will come out and say that this actually happened, and then he restored those women and called them the wives of Elijah Muhammad during Savior's Day in the 90s. So we know that this is actually true. But here is the point that Malcolm X made.
Well, these revelations that you are now making about Elijah Muhammad, what effect should they have on his following?
Well, I very much doubt that any of his followers who really are aware of what he has done would continue to follow him. He may try and justify it by saying that he's a Muslim, and that a Muslim has a right to these wives. If this were the case, these sisters should not have been humiliated. These sisters have been looked upon for the past 5 years, or 6 years, or 7 years as being guilty of having committed fornication. They have been debased. They have been degraded. I have heard him himself refer to them as having disgraced him. So if they were his wives, he should have given them a position of respect so that all of his followers would respect them and that they would have the protection of his followers today.
So the point that Malcolm X is saying is, listen, if you are going to say that you are the new Muhammad, if you are the new Moses, that's the case Elijah Muhammad was making, that he should be allowed to do these things while he was telling others to not do them, then the point that Malcolm X makes here is, why do you not formalize it, right? You should formalize these women. You should claim these women publicly as your wife, and you are not claiming these women publicly as your wife. So therefore, what you're doing is hypocritical. And this is the same thing I would say to Anton Daniels. When he is messing with these women, sleeping with these women, even if his wife allows him to do so, the problem is he's not formalizing any of these women as a second wife, as the scriptures would say. He's not formalizing them.
Well, you can't. We just looked it up. You can't like legally formalize it, bro. It's just like, at that point, it would be a make-believe marriage in a way. An undocumented. It's, oh, we say we're married, but there's no real documentation to it. Because the laws don't allow you to do that, bro. You know?
As a third wife, he's just having these relationships, he's smashing and dashing. So he's out of the faith because what he's doing now is adultery. Now, if Anton...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he doesn't want to, he wouldn't want them to even marry them in the first place, though. He's just trying to crack buns.
Daniels were to say, I have 2 wives, I have 3 wives, I have a 4th wife. And in the case of Mika, who allegedly said that she is married, then what you're doing is adultery. So adultery is when you have sex with a person that is not your spouse. So Mika is not your spouse. So adultery is a sin according to the scriptures, because the Bible clearly condemns it. Exodus 20:14, you shall not commit adultery. Anton Daniels is saying that my wife allows this, and she is even saying that she's allowing it. Problem here is Anton Daniels' wife is not God. Job 14:1 says, man that are born of a woman is of a few days and full of trouble. This is one of the old school scriptures these old we always talk about in church, right? And he right, because it's full of trouble for Anton. So his wife has a time limit. Therefore, his wife is in no moral position to allow him to do something that God has not allowed him to do, because he says he follows God. We heard him say that. And then also, you are not formalizing those women in the context of the scriptures. And Anton Daniels would have every reason to formalize these relationships with Mika if she was divorced, or any of the other young women. So you're just clapping these women's cheeks, even if you're telling your wife that you're thinking about it. And if you thought about it, and even if you didn't do it, it's still a sin, because you've thought about it but didn't act on it. But it's just as bad as if you did it. So at either point, Anton Daniels' wife has just made the situation worse. She is not living a lifestyle of a godly woman. He is not living a lifestyle of a godly man according to his own scriptures. even an atheist could use this against him and beat him pretty soundly. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again. Another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Producer for you, Curly Bell. We're out.
Hey man, what reason Anton is not divorcing her and marrying Mika or finding someone else? I don't know. Stop it. I don't know. The only thing that I can think of is like they don't have a prenup. You know what I'm saying? But then that would incentivize her to like divorce him. You know? So either he's keeping her happy enough to not do that, or I don't know. I think one day it's gonna come crashing down. Anton said, I think it was the last video we done, he didn't want to speak. It was in his place to speak on Mika's relationship with her husband. I think Mika and her husband are not really together. I don't think they're really together. Because it's no man that's gonna allow his woman, bro. Even if you have 5 fucking wives and she's the 5th wife or some shit, which I highly doubt, bro. Niggas is not letting they shorty go get flown out by another nigga, and it's called business. I can't remember if she said that they actually met. I don't think they met though. I don't think they've ever met. He's met her wife though. Well, he's met Anton's wife, but Anton has never met her husband. You know what I'm saying? So it's something weird going on with that. They may not even actually be together. They may be separated. You know, they may be legally married but not together, is what I'm saying. You know, and like she's like stuck type shit. You know, because they never done the actual divorce. That nigga might be living in a whole nother country or some shit. Like, we all probably know someone like this. I know a couple people that's been legally married and they never got a actual divorce, but they're not with the person they're legally married to. You know, like I know a couple people like that, bro. So it's definitely some weird shit going on. If she is truly with him, I think it's just a matter of time before it all breaks, you know. And apparently Mika is no longer fucking with Anton, allegedly. I think if it all went bad and, you know, Anton end up getting a divorce, Mika end up getting a divorce, I don't even think they would be together. I don't. That's just the way it might be. Fuck around. Who knows though? They might go get married after that. Is Anton still gonna be clapping buns? I don't give a fuck, nigga. I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't. This just content, bro. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely some weird shit going on with them, man. Everybody's gonna have an opinion about it. I mean, like I said, I don't think his wife respects herself too much. You know what I'm saying? It's some incentive she has to stay in that marriage, you know, of course. Because Anton is who he is. So she's incentivized to stay into that relationship. I mean, they do have kids together. I mean, at least a daughter that we know about, that I know about. So, you know, she got to be incentivized in some type of way to be staying around and letting him go cheat and, you know. But shit, that ain't all our business. I ain't all up in their business. I'm just watching videos, bro. With y'all niggas, man. So y'all let me know what y'all think, man. We on the road to 100 KOK. If you ain't hit that like button, subscribe button, and turned on all notifications, slap the dog shit about yourself, because that's the first thing you should have did when you clicked on this video. I'll get at you on the next one, and I'm gone. See why I put it in.